Hello, welcome back to the Kllection channel, and welcome back to another fun, little, exciting, chill, other words that completely contradict each other, installment of Kllection. Last episode we talked about some of my vintage comic books I own, primarily ones from the silver and bronze era, so what was that, 90s, 80s to 70s and 60s primarily. That was just a small handful, a small smidgen of the sheer pile down here. I'm gonna grab like a slice of this fuck off pile, just so you can see what we're dealing with here, ladies and gentlemen. This is a very small sampling of some of the comics I own. Like, I emphasize again, small sampling. I've probably sliced off like a third of the pile. I would have said this is probably like a third of the pile right here. There are a lot. And I just want to let you know that we'll be talking about a few more, but not today. Not today, because I've got something else in mind. I need to stop talking as soon as I turn away from the mic, and I'm still doing it. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about some of the consoles, video game consoles, and video game paraphernalia that I happen to own in my collection, because, yeah, I don't talk about it very often here on the Kllection channel. It's mostly like more it's kind of more other avenues of creative media that I cover here on the Kllection channel. Primarily, well, that's not true. Kllecion's Creative Perspective, we've talked about Call of Duty Zombies and, you know, Angry Video Game Nerd and stuff like that, so I guess I'm actually just completely making things up. But, you know, I've not done a series talking about games or anything like that. The Tube Review, we don't really cover video games, it's more like films and shows. But, you know, video games are a very big part of my passions in creative media and all that kind of stuff. It's definitely one of the things that's absolutely inspired me in terms of my tastes in storytelling, visual storytelling, settings and themes and all that kind of stuff. Not just from a gameplay aspect, but from like, yeah, the settings of games, the characters in games, like the storytelling and the characterization and stuff like that, and music and soundtracks and scores and all that bullshit. Gaming is a big part of that, and I have been an epic lit sickie gamer since 2004, so yes, it's a big part of me as a human being, and I'm going to talk about some of it today, I guess. This isn't like insanely rare. You've never heard this console before. Like, I've not got a fucking Magnavox Odyssey sitting over there. I've not got an Atari 5200 sitting over there. I've not got anything like that. It's like pretty tame. You know, last kind of 20-30 year consoles that probably everyone knows, but, you know, I've got a backstory for pretty much all of them, and I think that's the most interesting part, isn't it? And it gives you a bit of insight in terms of what I like to game on, right? I'm gonna pick this one out because it's right here in front of me. Look, wow, isn't that crazy? You ever seen one of these before? It's a Nintendo Game Boy. Its very shiny surface means you can't really see it very clearly. There, does that help him? Yeah, look, it's a Game Boy. Specifically a Game Boy Advance. Specifically a Game Boy Advance SP, which was the daddy of the school playground when I was a young child. Man, everyone fucking had one of these suckers, bro. It really takes it back. It really, really does. Like, this was the handheld gaming console of my generation. Like, absolutely, for like a fact. There was that point in time in my childhood where handheld consoles were very much, you know, getting better and better very quickly. You know, it wasn't like the days of the original Nintendo Game Boy. I used to have one. Not from that time. Very much this was the first handheld console I ever owned. That's not true. The first handheld console I ever owned was an original Game Boy Advance, which was not a clamshell little square thing, nice and compact. It was more like a long kind of how do you describe what it looked like? I guess I'll just put a picture up and then you can see it for yourself right there. It's like a long thing. It wasn't a clamshell foldy thing, it was a wide console, and I think it was like a see-through plastic thing, because, you know, that was the style of the noughties, and just everything had to have a see-through plastic thing. Which, can you bring that aesthetic back, because it looks fucking fire? I really miss that. But yeah, that was the first handheld console I owned, and then eventually I upgraded to the Game Boy Advance SP. I can't remember when I got it. You know, it's just one of those things that your mother and father. God, I didn't know this existed until my parents very kindly got me one for my probably a birthday or some shit. This is the one that I owned in my youth. This is the original one. So yes, it's a Coleman original out here in the Coleman channel. I just had the standard issue grey clamshell one. You know, this is the pretty boring one that pretty much was the standard issue model. A lot of people had, like, you know, the gold. I remember the one that I was incredibly jealous of was everyone had this gold one with like tribal patterns on it. That one was fucking fire. And then there was like black ones and I think blue ones, navy blue ones as well. There was a good couple of different designs, but there was also this one with the tribal tattoo design. I just had the silver clamshell, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, Game Boy Advance SP, probably one of the greatest handheld consoles ever freaking made. It's still fucking sick, litty. Had some of the best of Nintendo's gaming library on it. And of course it's backwards compatible with the old ass, oh my god, now I dropped it. Some of the old ass original Game Boy cartridges, you know, the big ass grey ones. I don't have any cartridges right now. I don't have any of them anymore. I don't know what the fuck I've done with them. I think I gave them to my friend Sam and now I doubt I'll ever fucking see them again actually. I've got one here that a friend, I think my friend Greg gave me. I think he got ripped though, because this says like fucking £10 on the back of it. You can see that there. Right there, £10. Yeah, there you go. Oh, well, this is a good one though. This is Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland. I may have to turn the light down a little bit because you can hardly. There we go. Look at that. Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland, which is a good old classic. Ian. I'm much more of a, in terms of handheld ones, I'm much more of a Kirby Superstar Ultra guy, but that was on the DS and not the Game Boy, which I was actually going to make a point about that, and then I completely forgot to make that point. But I'll get back to that. Yes, I had a metric shit ton of Game Boy Advance games, and the best thing about the Game Boy Advance SP for me at that point in time was it allowed me to discover and play, first for a visual effect, it allowed me to play a lot of the original classic Super Mario games from the NES, SNES era, because they were all ported over to the Game Boy. So I managed to play Super Mario Bros. 2, Super Mario Bros. 3, Super Mario World, Donkey Kong, and all that kind of stuff. I had a lot of the classic Mario titles on this little mother fricker, which was very epic and a nice privilege to get to play those, you know, at that point in time. And, you know, I had stuff like Mario Kart Super Circuit, which I think is like one of the best Mario Kart games ever fucking made, bruh. God, Mario Kart Super Circuit was the shit. I really loved that game. But yes, wallowing in old man memories, bruh. Good God. Yeah, 2002 Nintendo is the copyright date on this. So yeah, this was the talk of the playground. Everyone had one of these little frickers. And you know, everyone was playing online with them and stuff. Look at that reflection in there, bro. You see that? That's really scary. Yeah, you know, if you don't know, if you're one of the youngins who don't know how the frick this works, that's your gamepad there. It's literally just a D-pad, A and B button. Select and start, and also a backlight button at the top there. As you can see, that little white button there. That's a backlight LED button, because one of the most impressive things with this console is you could fucking see the screen, because the original Game Boy had a very, very primitive kind of like, it wasn't in color actually, it was in like, it's maybe like black and white, but it's more like greenish and black and greenish color, and it was very hard to see. There was no backlight, so it would be very dark. But this was a big problem with the Game Boy. It didn't stop it from getting popular, obviously, as we all know, but future Game Boy models came out, and then this little thing has a little backlight button on it, which is nice. It definitely helped, because it never had any issues with seeing. And then, you know, you got your little volume thing there, and then there's your power and all that. I don't know if there's any charge in it. Let's see. Oh, oh, oh! Oh, baby! That, ladies and gentlemen, is the sound of childhood, bruh. I was going to make the point of, like, I was in my childhood, handheld consoles were getting better and better very quickly. I touched on it a little bit there because, yeah, I literally had the Game Boy Advance for like 2 seconds before I got the Game Boy Advance SP. And then I think literally not many years passed afterwards, and then the original Nintendo DS came out, the big fat one. I think it was like 2 years difference between this and the original DS. I think the original DS came out in 2004. That's the big, chunky, grey, silvery one. It kind of looks like this, but you know, like a DS. But not many people had that in my school. Everyone had the Nintendo DS Lite, which was, you know, the common one that everyone remembers before it became the Nintendo DSi and all that kind of stuff. I had a DSi. I wish I knew where it was. I definitely still have it somewhere. Otherwise, I would have shown it here. But yeah, I had a DSi. But yes, handheld consoles moved very fast in my childhood. But I was very privileged to be at the point where we had one of these little suckers, because this shit was a fucking classic. I love it. It's good. Game Boy Advance SP. Might as well keep talking about handhelds here. By the way, my mic was a lot quieter a minute ago. I just turned it up because I know it was so quiet. This is going to be pretty funny. So, you probably all don't know this if you're newer to the channel, but like back in the day when I was still like struggling to figure out what kind of content I wanted to make here on the Kllection channel, I actually did Kllection a long time ago, like probably like 2019, or maybe at the beginning of 2020. When I didn't know what kind of content I wanted to make. So the original format for Kllection back in the day, I'll put the video up here because you're never going to see it because it's unlisted. Kind of like Ashen's, if you know what that is. It was like just my hands on a table. And what I'm about to show you was the first and the only item that I ever showed off in the original rendition of Kllection. And it's this. My dusty ass screen. Holy shit, shows you how long it's been since I've used this little sucker. Yeah, you see that there? See that there? There we go. This is, ladies and gentlemen, the Super Mario Bros. 35th anniversary limited edition Nintendo Game & Watch console. Isn't that fricking litty sicky? It costs way too much money. I think it costs like $50 for this fucker. It definitely is not worth that price, but literally the only reason why I got this is because I just wanted to own a Game & Watch for a very long time. Mr. Game & Watch was like my favourite. It was like one of my favourite, you know, Mr. Game & Watch is my main in Super Smash Bros, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, I've never got to play a Game & Watch game. Game & Watch is like the first handheld consoles ever made by Nintendo. And pretty much the first mainstream consoles ever made as well, before they had like the Pong consoles in Japan and all that kind of stuff, the colour TV game, whatever the fuck they were called. This was like the big mainstream one. This is the one that basically put them on the map for making consoles. I'm pretty confident that the battery's dead in this thing. I think it is. I can't even show you anything about it. You know what, I'll probably just get like 2020 Coleman to show you a little bit of the console, just to make use of that useless content, and also so you can see what it does, because I can't show you it now. The screen's probably there. I remember the recording being absolutely awful because I've never done anything like that before, and the camera that I used was shit. There's the screen there. It's a little bit bright, but as you can see, it does indeed keep time, 6:09 PM, as it is right now. Very fancy and lit and epic. I don't remember if anyone ever saw the trailer. Need to fucking hold this right so you can see the screen. I don't remember if anyone ever saw the announcement for this thing. I think they talked about this on the Mario Nintendo Direct they did a while ago, where they announced Mario 3D All-Stars and all that shit. But apparently there are 35 secrets that can be unlocked on the watch mode in this game. I don't really know how to do it. All I've been doing is like mashing buttons. As you can see, you can spawn enemies and stuff depending on the buttons that you press. I haven't found all 35 fucking secrets yet, obviously. But it seems like it's going to be a very tricky thing. As you can see, Mario just knocked off the numbers there, and now it's 10 minutes past 6, which is very fucking cool. And there it is there, a nice little picture of Mario in his original brown and red overalls from the original Mario Bros game, having a bit of a sleep with some lovely little butterflies. I've never seen that picture before. I don't know if that image was made for this product. I don't think so. I've never really seen, like, I've never seen any like promotional art or anything of Mario in his brown and red overalls, like the original ones. I could be tripping when I say that, but I'm quite certain I haven't, so I don't know if they made that image for this when it goes into sleep mode, or it came from elsewhere. Either way, it's a pretty nice little dinky feature. Yeah, Game & Watch consoles back in the day did not have like cartridges, they were just individual units, and every game had the title of the game on the Game & Watch, so you knew which one you were playing basically. So it's meant to be that. Basically, this thing just has the original Super Mario Bros. On it. It has Super Mario Bros. I think that has the secret levels as well, which was Mario Brothers 2 in Japan, and it was too difficult, so they didn't do it. And then I'm gonna do the classic geeky YouTube channel thing, Gaming Geek YouTube channel. Did you know that Mario Brothers 2 is actually called Doki Doki Panic in Japan? I bet you didn't. It's uncommon knowledge. And then it also has Ball, which is a classic Game & Watch game where you just juggle balls, and then instead of Mr. Game & Watch in the game, it's Mario. That's literally all it was. It also tells time because it's a Game & Watch, etc, etc. You'll see all that in the 2020 Coleman video. Also, it's USB-C charge, which is quite fancy. Yeah, it's been dead for a while because I just kind of got it because it looks neat. Since then, actually, they released a Legend of Zelda version of this for the Legend of Zelda 35th anniversary. It's basically the same thing, except instead of red, it's green. Because, you know, Link is green. I almost called him Zelda. My girl almost got shafted by the Zelda community there. Continuing on with the Nintendo motif. Boom. Look, I bet you ain't never seen one of these before. It's a Nintendo GameCube. It's a black Nintendo. I just knew I dropped another console. Fuck me. Yeah, it's the black Nintendo GameCube. Wow, you know, this, you know, you've never seen one of those before. This is an exceedingly rare video game console. I really like the Nintendo GameCube, bro. It's just such a very cool era in Nintendo's history. I think they really went out of their way to make some very strange fuck-ass games that were built different, like Wario Land and Luigi's Mansion and Super Mario Sunshine. Really experimental titles. Wind Waker, you know what I'm saying? Like different Metroid Prime, you know what I'm saying? Just different, built different Nintendo like games based on their IPs. Like the GameCube era was a fascinating experimental time. And obviously this is the console that really kicked off competitive Smash with Melee, which is just the most sweatiest fuck-ass degenerate gameplay I've ever fucking seen. Like, competitive Melee is literally just playing Fox or Falco and just taking advantage of all the game-breaking glitches and destroying each other, which is pretty funny. I can't really play Melee very well myself, but it's fun, and it's got Pikmin. It's got a lot of you know what I'm saying? Like, so many crazy-ass games were born on the GameCube. It is a phenomenal console, and it has some of the best of Nintendo's library on it. And it just looks cool. A cube? A cube. Funnily enough, this was not a game. I did not own the Nintendo GameCube in my youth. At this point in time, the current generation of consoles, looks like a little face. The current generations of consoles at this point would have been Nintendo GameCube, the Sony PlayStation 2, and fluff, and the Microsoft Xbox, the original Xbox that was released at that point in time. And at that point, I would have been playing a PlayStation 2. Here's the hilarious thing about why the fuck I own a Nintendo GameCube, okay? It's ridiculous. Very silly. It would have been about 2008. I currently own a Nintendo Wii, which was one of the best selling. We all know what the fucking Nintendo Wii is. Why am I breaking it down for you? Well, I had the Nintendo Wii. Obviously, you know, it was like one of the. This was like the console basically changed my fucking world of view on gaming, with things like Mario Galaxy and Smash Brothers Brawl and all these crazy cinematic, massive, boisterous, epic games. I soon learned that the Nintendo GameCube existed, and there was games like Smash Melee, and there was Sunshine and Luigi's Mansion. In these games, I was desperate to play. I really, really wanted to play them. And, you know, for my birthday one day, I asked my sister to get me a Nintendo GameCube second fucking hand. Do you realise what's very funny about that? If you own the Nintendo Wii, you'd probably know why that's ridiculous. And here's what's ridiculous about it. I was a little idiot child and I had no fucking idea that the Nintendo GameCube was backwards compatible with the Nintendo Wii. So I literally just bought this I literally had this whole ass console bought for me for no good reason, when I could have just got the games and also the controllers, because the Nintendo Wii can put in GameCube games. And then I always wondered what those little flap top doors at the top of the Wii were for. It's for GameCube controllers and memory cards. I just had no fucking idea until someone told me, by the way, the Wii's backwards compatible with GameCube, and I went, what? I don't know. Whatever. Funny stuff. LOL. at the very least, I got to experience the original GameCube experience, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, swings and roundabouts and all that kind of stuff. Pretty funny, but it's the only reason why I ended up with this. This is the original one that I had bought from me when I was like 10 or something like that. I got a black one. I wanted a purple one, but you know, we got the black. Black's nice. We like black consoles out here. But yeah, that's the story about why I own a GameCube, because I'm a fucking idiot, basically. Here's another Coleman original. Most of these consoles are Coleman originals, honestly. I don't know why this has got like dirt on it. Yo, wowee, look at that. Isn't it sick? Yeah, it's a Sony PlayStation 1, literally PS1, because this is actually the slim model of the PlayStation 1, the little baby version of the PlayStation 1. This is my original PlayStation 1 from my youth, and man, it is so crazy me that I still own this thing. It really is, because I have incredibly vivid memories of just playing this little sucker. It used to be a lot more white back in the day. I think, anyway. I might be tripping, but yeah, man, this is the shit right here. This is the console that really got me into gaming like properly when I was a kid. Like the first consoles that we owned, which we'll get to in a minute because I own it. You can probably see right there. Finger, you can see right there. Yep. Yeah, that was the family console. You know, it wasn't mine. It was me and my sisters. You know, at that point in time, I would have been like 6, and they would have been like 16. So yeah, we would play that together in like the living room and stuff like that, and I'd freak out and get nosebleeds and stuff because I was a little gamer rager, which is pretty funny. But I never had my own console until I got this, the PlayStation 1 Slim model, literally called PS1, because at that point in time the PlayStation 2 was out. But I would have had no idea that was a thing. So my mother and father bought me this, and yeah, man, I fucking rocked this shit. I had this for many years before I upgraded to the PlayStation 2, which was also the Slim model. I also had the PS2 Slim. But yeah, I had a lot of games on this. I don't think I have a lot of, like, I couldn't name any that I think are like iconic, really, because like I was a big licensed gaming dude, you know. I played like a lot of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone on this. I'd even owned Crash Bandicoot back in the day, believe it or not. I had a clone of Crash Bandicoot, which was an M&M's fucking video game called M&M's Shell Shock. It was just a Crash Bandicoot clone, pretty funny. Yeah, Toy Story 2, Buzz Lightyear to the Rescue, that's a classic. I think probably maybe the one that a lot of people know that I played on this was Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man game. You know, that had Venom and Scorpion and Dr. Octopus and Carnage and all that kind of stuff. That game was a banger game, bruh. In some ways better than the PS4 game. I know people are gonna fucking call me crazy. Yes, the gameplay's way better, but the story in that game was way better than the story in the PS4 game. And also, the music in the PS1 game kicks the shit out of the PS4 game. Unironically, no cap, for real. Please come at me, because you can't change my fucking mind on that. The music in the PS1 Spider-Man game kicks ass. Neversoft kicked ass back in the day. But yeah, this is my original console from way back when. My first very own console that I owned. And it probably still works, but you know, the cables disappeared for this fucker a long ass time ago. Now, I don't know if this is the original one from my youth. I think it might be. I could be completely wrong, but yeah, this was the very first video game console that I ever played in my entire life. This is the Sega Mega Drive, also known as the Sega Genesis if you're a North American, you know. Genesis does what Nintendo don't and all that bullshit. But yeah, we had the Sega Mega Drive. This is the Sega Mega Drive 2. As you can see, this is the second model that they made after the big fat model with a big round shit on it. Yeah, 16-bit, obviously emblazoned on the console, because that was the big selling point at that time. It was a big advantage over the NES and Nintendo, because it was only 8-bit, and then they made the SNES and kicked the shit out of Sega. But yeah, this was the first console I ever played on, the first console I ever played, baby, which is very surprising because, you know, this was 2005 at this point. Literally, the PlayStation 2 had been out for a couple of years. But the whole reason that the Mega Drive was in my household was because my mother and father were bored in the house and they wanted to buy a Mega Drive. I can only imagine this thing was about way before I was born, honestly. So, I'm honestly quite lucky and privileged that I even got to play this little fucker, to be real. I think this is a point in time, like, in the UK, it's pretty funny because, like, console gaming was not a massive thing, particularly in the 80s, right? Not many people had like an NES or like a Sega Master System or anything like that. Not the Mega, I'm not getting confused. That was the console before the Mega Drive Master System. Everyone was playing on like Commodore 64s and like ZX Spectrums and Amstrads and stuff. So it wasn't a massive scene in the UK in the 80s. Everyone was playing cassettes on fucking computers, right? It wasn't until like the 90s where like the SNES kind of broke out and the Mega Drive kind of happened. You know, like the Mega Drive was going into like its second and third models and stuff. So console gaming was, again, it feels like at the beginning it was quite stalled, if you know what I mean. Like I think a lot of households in the UK would have had a Mega Drive or an SNES in it, even when like big consoles like the PlayStation, like disc consoles were coming out, because I do distinctly remember having the Mega Drive 2 in my mum and dad's house, and I remember like my cousins having like an SNES and stuff. I'd play like Addams Family on the SNES and stuff. So it was definitely like a thing in the UK. It feels to me that we kind of took a while to catch up with older consoles because it was all about computer gaming at the time. So that's a very interesting little bit of trivia for you. But yeah, this is the one. Take in, like, take in. It's got a nice little cartridge tray to keep dust out and shit. You know, it's got two little buttons, reset and start. Again, I don't have the wires for this thing. But yeah, like I said, this is the second model they made, which is a bit more compact. Never had the first generation model. I think this was like probably the more iconic version over here anyway. And this was also the model that was compatible with all the little add-on things that they made when the Sega Mega Drive was starting to die out, like the 32X and the Sega CD. That's what this little thing is down here. As you can see, there's like a little arrow. You can take that off, and then as you can see, this is for inserting a Sega CD into the side, which is like an add-on thing that played disc games that were very terrible. And then the 32X is another thing that you plugged into the top here. It was just really awful attempts at trying to keep the longevity of the Mega Drive alive while Nintendo were effectively fucking them in the sales. But you know, despite that, I don't know if the CD or the 32X ever took off here. I don't think they took off anywhere, to be fair. But yeah, isn't that very interesting? It's very dusty. I don't have any of the controllers or nothing, but yeah, like I said, it was very, very early memories for me, this console. So I don't quite remember a lot of the games I played. Again, I think we played a lot of Toy Story 1 on this, which is a very difficult, like I don't know if it was difficult, but I think it might have been quite hard, but it was quite an iconic one back in the day. There was a lot of Disney games I had on this, like Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck, Mickey Mouse and the Enchanted Castle or something like that, you know, stuff. There was another one that you played a big monkey that my mother really enjoyed, but I can't remember what his name was. But yeah, that's the first console I ever played, so I own it. It might or may not be the original one, it might have been a friend's or something, but yeah, Sega Mega Drive 2. Genesis does. You can't do this on Nintendo. Genesis does. I wish we had those ads in the UK, bruh, but you know, Mega Drive does when Nintendo doesn't roll off the tongue as well. Well, not bad. Mega Drive does. You can't do this on Nintendo. Mega Drive does. I'm talking shit, it works perfectly fine. Right, we're gonna fast forward into the future a little bit here with one of my own consoles again. This is not very impressive, this one, but you know, it's a very important console to me. Yeah, baby, I haven't seen one of these little suckeroonies in a little while. This is an Xbox 360. Obviously, it says on the side. God, these things are fucking hefty chonkers, bruh. Like, you know, they're probably not as, like, I mean, the original Xbox One is way bigger than this, but it's got a good bit of weight to it, bruh. Like, damn, it's quite hefty. So this is the Xbox 360 Slim model. This is one of the later models that they made before they officially stopped manufacturing the 360. I think this is like the second last model they made. I can't remember what the last Xbox 360 model was called, but that one looked way more like the Xbox One in terms of design and stuff. That was like the last one they made, but this was like one of the later ones that they did. This is actually the third 360 I ever owned in my life. The first one I owned was the Xbox 360 Arcade, which is like one of the first ones that they ever did. It was just like the white one. You had to put in like hard drives in the top. You fucking remember hard drives, bruh? back in the day, jeez, what a flashback. Like, this was like the next generation up from memory cards, was hard drives for the 360. On the top, you would have like so many like gigabyte hard drives. I remember back in the day, like 180 gigabytes was insane, bruh. Oh my god, I feel like a fucking eldritch man. 1080 gigabytes was huge. Like, that was insanely big back in the day, bruh. For a 360, Christ. It was a big massive slab of plastic that you'd slot into the top of your console, and then you'd save all your data on it. Oh my god, bruh. Jeez, this obviously at this point in time that was no longer a thing, it was all internal. I don't remember how many gigs this thing held, but it was definitely more than 1,080. I remember thinking, damn, this is a lot. But yeah, it was like one of the first ones I owned. I can't remember why I got rid of it. I think for some reason, I don't know if that one was HDMI compatible. I can't remember. I don't know if the arcade could do HDMI. I think it probably could. Maybe it was the one before the arcade, because it was like the second or third Xbox model they made. But at the time I thought it didn't have HDMI capability, and my mum and dad didn't know any better, so they ended up getting me a second one, which was the... Oh, right, okay, so... Apparently the arcade version was indeed the third version of the original Xbox 360, which was like the one that had like the chrome disc opener and stuff. That one was called the Core, apparently. But yeah, this was the 360 Pro, I remember now. This was like the next step up from the not this one, the one before that was the 360 Pro. That was the next step up from the arcade. It was basically the same thing, except I think it was a bit faster and it held more gigabytes, and there was basically no other difference in that. For some reason I thought that one was better because that one had HDMI and the arcade didn't. I think they both fucking did though, to be honest, but you know, I wasn't going to complain about a brand new 360. I think the first game I played on the Pro was Red Dead Redemption 1. I remember that very well. I think specifically Undead Nightmare as well. I just lied to you, by the way. This isn't the Pro, it's the fucking... This was the 360 Elite. Not this one, the one before it. Stop, put it down. The 360 Elite was the second Xbox 360 I ever owned. And then I got this one, which was the Xbox 360 Slim. Also apparently otherwise known as the 360S, which is interesting to me. So yeah, this was again the next step up from the 360 Elite. It was like completely redesigned, more fans, I think it was faster, and also instead of like a button to press, this was like touch sensitive. Yeah, it's not a button, I can't push it in, so it's touch sensitive, and then the disc tray would open, and this was touch sensitive as well. So yeah, it was just again another better version of the 360 Elite and the 360 Arcade, and this was the last 360 that I owned before I eventually upgraded to the original Xbox One, which was a bit of a shit heap of a console, I don't mind telling you. Like, it was okay at the time, definitely during the time before it came out, I looked like it was going to be a disaster, but looking at the upgrades, like the Xbox One S, and then eventually the Series S and Series X, yeah, the original Xbox One is a bit of a shit heap console. And also the next 360 after this they came out with after was called the 360E, which was a complete redesign. It completely got rid of the classic, like whatever you would call that, obelisk kind of design, and looks more like the original Xbox One. But yeah, this was the console that I gamed on for many years. I had a 360 for a very long time. I originally got one in about 2009, and then yeah, eventually didn't get rid of it until 2014, I think. Sticking with Xbox for a little while longer, I have a pretty neat little doohickey. Look at this, baby. Yes, sir. This here, ladies and gentlemen, is the HYPERKIN Xbox Duke controller. Original Xbox Duke controller. Yeah, HYPERKIN are third-party, like, I think officially endorsed third-party game accessory makers, designers and stuff like that. They basically design a lot of like HD retro gaming consoles, like completely from the ground up. They can play all your original cartridges and stuff like that, and you know, just a bunch of different gaming accessories like controllers and VR and stuff. And they're a pretty good, reputable company. And then basically one day, Xbox endorsed HYPERKIN to design the classic version of the original Xbox controller, like the first edition controller before they slimmed it way down, because everyone said that this controller is way too thick. And bruh, this controller, the original Xbox controller, the Duke, is fat, bruh. Like, is a hefty chungus. You can see why some people wanted it changed. I quite like the original Xbox controller because I've got very big hands as it is, so it actually fits in my hand quite nicely, and I could play away with it all day, all live long day, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I fucking love the Duke controller, bro. Like, I never had the original Xbox. I jumped straight to 360. I was playing PlayStation 2 at the time. I think a lot of people went to, at least in the UK, I think a lot of people went to 360. Everyone had PS2 and then they went to 360 afterwards, unless they had PlayStation 3, which not a lot of people did, and then it changed to PS4 over Xbox One. I digress. Never had an original Xbox, and I had the Duke controller, but you know, I knew of it and I was very fascinated by it. I wanted to get it, and I got it. I got it in Florida a couple of years ago. I just saw it in a shop. I'm like, well, I need to fucking cop that because I'll never get it any other time. But yeah, as you can see, it's pretty much 1-to-1, almost exactly the same as the Duke controller, obviously with a few Xbox One add-ons. Like, the main thing you can see obviously is the front here. This big fucking ass button, it is a button, just used to have the original Xbox logo on it. This point in time, now it's changed to a button, so it's essentially your home button, and it is just a big fucking dome, which is great. I love that it's just one big fucking button, and it's actually got a screen on it as well. So whenever you actually boot up your controller, in there it plays a little animation of the original Xbox boot up sequence, which is really fucking cool. Very fucking cool, actually. I'm a big fan of that. And then it just stays with the Xbox logo on it. It's very, very fancy. I can't really show you an example. I'll probably just put up a video of someone else's and credit. But yeah, I really like that touch. I think it's pretty neato. And obviously you've got your Xbox One, but they have different, it's not Star and Select, they have names. I don't know what, I just call them Star and Select. But yeah, they have those there, obviously. And then, back in the day with the original Xbox, it didn't have shoulder buttons. Well, it had LT-RT, as you can see right there. They're from the original console, but never had the shoulder buttons, which you would call right bumper and left bumper. Instead, they had these two little buttons here, which were the white button and the black button, which is a bit bizarre. Yeah, they were your bumper buttons. But as you can see, on this controller, they've actually added little bumper buttons in case you'd rather do that. But it's nice to give you the option. So if you're playing any game with this, you can instead use the white and black button if you felt so inclined, which is quite nice. Yeah, this thing just kind of sits, you know, I kind of like it. Sometimes I'll play like a Xbox game. I'll play Morrowind on the Xbox One, and then, you know, I can play it old style. You know, I can use the white and black buttons instead of the bumpers and shit. It's pretty cool. It's just a cool little thing to own. The only shit thing I really don't like about it is it does not take batteries. Like, it needs to be plugged in with a micro USB wire. And it's obviously a very small square hole, so not every fucking wire fits into it. Like, bruh, why wouldn't it just be that this little black thing comes off and then you can put batteries in it? Like, it makes no fucking sense to me. I get, oh, I want to be retro and, you know, it's the old days and shit. Well, fuck, I don't care. It's got a fucking screen on the controller. Make it wireless. I'd maybe use it some more, but it's not wireless, so it's kind of lame that way. That's my main complaint about this. But HYPERKIN, Xbox One, original Xbox Duke controller, wowee. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all very much for joining me for another installment of Kllection. Almost forgot the title of this series there. Thank you all very much for pulling up. Thank you all for watching the episode. And yes, more videos to come. I'm still working on my new big series that I teased on Twitter a while ago, Assembling Marvel Cinema. I just recorded the first script there, and I'm going to start editing it at some point. I don't know when, but it's on the cards. Yeah, look forward to that. It should be pretty fun. I'm looking forward to doing it if I don't get copyright strike the fuck, because it's Marvel. I'm tuning for more tube review, Behind the Process, Common Square Perspective, etc. And also, if you saw my last video, which is talking about edit.tv, absolutely make sure to check that website out still, please. Have a look at my profile. The link is in the description of the promo. It's also in the link of my About and my channel page, my YouTube channel page. Click the link, check out my edit profile, hit me up if you want any kind of YouTube video editing services or YouTube voiceover services or both. Check out the Twitch, check out the TikTok. I do some TikTok still, Coleman TikTok. I don't know. Check out the Twitter. Like, subscribe, comment, share, bell. Gaming.